Welcome everyone, I'm Jedi John and this is Trends in Technology Education. Before we jump into our main topic today, we've got time for just a few quick lead stories. So let's start today with cybersecurity. Our friends over at CNBC posted a story this week that the average cyber attack now costs small companies $200,000 on average. And according to insurance carrier Hiscox, a staggering 60% of small businesses have to shut their doors within 6 months of suffering a cybersecurity incident. Now, this stat in and of itself is pretty incredible, but what makes it worse is that hackers know how poorly prepared most businesses are to defend themselves, with the IBM Ponemon Institute reporting that only 14% of small companies have the right tools and personnel in place to respond to an incident.
What is my cybersecurity policy? Start there. Start just as a business owner or a decision maker in a business. What is our policy? What happens if things go wrong? What is our disaster recovery plan? Have we tested it? Begin to ask these questions, because it's not a matter of if it will happen to you, it's when.
He's absolutely right, and that's the issue. Most small businesses don't take cybersecurity seriously, even though over 40% of attacks are now targeting them exclusively. And if they aren't taking it seriously, the consequences can be devastating. All right, moving on, let's talk about Facebook, everyone's favorite social media platform and privacy nightmare. This week, it was announced that Facebook will be fined in Turkey for a data privacy breach.
Turkey has fined social media giant Facebook more than $280,000 over data breach of users in the country. Turkish authorities say Facebook has broken the law by exposing personal data of users, including their names, gender, birth dates, relationship status, religion, and search history.
Now, this obviously isn't the first time that Facebook has been in the news for a data privacy breach.
Now to that breaking headline about Facebook under fire this morning over a new report about the company sharing your information with Apple, Microsoft, and more.
A report saying the Federal Trade Commission has slapped Facebook with a $5 billion settlement over the company's Cambridge Analytica scandal in 2018, the largest fine ever imposed by the FTC against the tech company.
Facebook, and according to the New York Times, before Facebook was widely available on your smartphones, the social network formed data sharing partnerships with at least 60 device makers, including top companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Samsung. And those.
We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry.
I get that at the end of the day, not everyone is going to care about their data, but you should at least know what these companies are doing with it. Data privacy is an important topic, and as the amount of data increases, your organization definitely doesn't want to be on the wrong side of this conversation. And that brings us to our main topic for the week, coding. You know that thing that TV shows and movies always make look very dangerous and exciting?
There's a new virus in the database.
What's happening?
It's replicating, eating up memory. What do I do?
Type cookie, you idiot. I'll head him off at the pass.
Awesome. And while that may be the reason some people get into coding, most coding is actually a lot more thoughtful and analytical. Check out this footage from CodeJam 2019, sponsored by Google.
Problem B, sorting permutation unit. He's been working on it for a while, so he has a lot of code already written, and it looks like he's currently testing, doing some debugging there.
And while the Hollywood version may be more exciting, in reality, we all have coders to thank for literally everything we love about our modern lifestyle. Want to find directions to your friend's house? Someone coded that app. Want to order takeout food without calling anyone on the phone and talking to a human? Somebody wrote that code. Coding is so important that it has led people to ask this question.
Code is extremely intimidating to a lot of people, and I think it has to do with this issue of us not knowing what it is or where it is or what it looks like.
Regardless of what industry you're in, if you know how to bend the computer to your will, it's useful for all sorts of different things.
Now, while I would love to get into a philosophical discussion on the importance of code from a language perspective, today I'd like to take a look at coding from an often overlooked angle: security. According to Cybersecurity Ventures report in 2018, there's an estimated 111 billion lines of new software code written each year. And while that amount of development is absolutely staggering, it does bring up the fact that each year there are billions of lines of code that could be the gateway for a cybersecurity attack. Here's Dan Cornell, CTO at Denim Group, on the problem of security in coding education.
Security is critical for technology. As we come to increasingly depend on these technologies, we start to have explicit and, more important, implicit expectations of how our data is going to be treated. Technology these days is pretty much basically all software. Hardware moves comparatively slow. And when you think about applications, those are all software. So the coders that write this software basically control the pace of innovation. What that also means is that they control the security of the systems that they're ultimately creating. That would all be well and good if the coders building these systems knew about security, but by and large they don't.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. The majority of coders and programmers spend most of their time learning languages and coding techniques, hardly ever focusing on best security practices. Listen to Amrit Williams, CTO of CloudPassage, describe the challenges of security within a DevOps environment.
The concern, though, happens to be that sometimes not all organizations are able to integrate security into the DevOps process. And when I was with Gartner, I did write a lot about integrating security into the software-defined life cycles, the software development life cycles. And that was a challenge for folks. It was usually something that was done either as part of the QA process or post, commercial code, getting into the production environments, and it was the responsibility of organizations to layer security on.
Now let me break that down for you, since what he's saying really describes the crux of this issue. Since most coders aren't thinking about security when they're writing their code, it is often much later on in the development life cycle that security gets tested, if it gets tested at all. That leads to an increase in development costs, longer development cycles, or organizations that simply don't have a security by design principle in place. This is likely why IT departments have identified software and app developers as the largest skills gap that they face, beating out cybersecurity and data analytics. It isn't because there's a lack of coders and developers. It's just that many of those individuals simply lack the necessary secure coding skills that organizations are looking for. Now, the good news in all of this, Logical Operations has partnered with CertNexus to deliver cybersecure coder to the marketplace. This course and certification focuses on creating a security by design approach when it comes to coding and app development. It targets students who have a basic understanding of object-oriented programming and are looking to include best security practices with their coding skills.
So the thought process behind CertNexus developing CyberSecure Coder really developed out of the software development lifecycle. And when we looked at that and the assumptions that lived behind it, that developers who were writing the code where everything originated from were implementing security by design. And this became assumed. But what we recognized is that many developers were cutting corners or were up against tough deadlines and really were not incorporating or even had the skills to incorporate security when they were writing code.
Look, coding isn't going away. Every company is looking to cash in on having an app or responsive web experiences. Languages like Python and JavaScript are being taught in high schools. And with 111 billion lines of code being written every year, security concerns are a real problem. CyberSecure Coder offers a real solution for coding students and businesses who are looking to improve their development and operations when it comes to coding and app design. If you're interested in learning more, whether you're a training organization or coder yourself, please feel free to contact me at the address listed in the video description below. You can also check out a video on Cybersecure Coder in the description. Thanks again for watching Trends in Technology Education. That's our show for today. I'm Jedi John. I'll see you next week, and may the sales be with you.